Well, they do like to introduce their younger members before they start on their own, Jess says. Remember Power Storm? She was like 15 when she first started. Jess remembers it well. It was her sister's introduction as a new superhero. For a time, Claudia had tailed along after the League, and they had helped her get her name out as she handled minor search and rescues and a few reconnaissance missions on the Villains Guild. Jess is pretty sure she was mostly fetching coffee for the members of the League, but Claudia played it up as a huge educational experience. Claudia was still in her training program when the League started introducing her to the public, but they always handpicked the most promising to join the League. He's probably still in meta-human training, Jess says thoughtfully, and if he's a teenager, he probably hasn't had a lot of time to practice control. Well, the League doesn't accept just anybody, Emma says. Bells, come on, back me up. Isn't Chameleon amazing? Do you seriously like him just because he has powers? Bells blurts out, his voice sharp with annoyance. What? Emma frowns. No, I just think he's cute and really cool, you know? Like Jess said, you can't see his face, Bells points out, but all you know about him is what's listed on the League's holo in this video. How soon for a crush, don't you think? Emma huffs. How is this different than when we've talked about with any of the other heroes we find attractive? Than what we've talked about with any of the other heroes we find attractive. Bells gets up and grabs his backpack. Whatever. I just realised I have to finish my history essay. I'll see you in school. You need a ride? Emma calls, but he's already at the top of the stairs. The basement door shuts with a thud, and they can hear Belle's footsteps echo through the house, then the front door open and close. I guess he's walking. Jess bites her lip. Not that far to the nearest bus stop. Emma's mouth is still open, and she's frozen, staring at the stairs. She shakes herself. Her eyebrows knit, turns to Jess. What was that about? Jess and Emma finish the movie, but the mood has changed. Emma keeps biting her lip and looking toward the stairs. I'm gonna go see if he's okay, Emma says. I feel like I should apologize, but I'm not really sure what for. Like, how is me finding Chameleon cute different than Starscream or Copycat? Jess brushes through her hair as she thinks. She ties her hair in a ponytail as Emma watches her. Great. Emma knows all her tells. She probably thinks Jess knows something. Jess has suspected for a while that Bells has feelings for Emma, who crushes on a new person almost every week. Her focus is intense but fleeting, and she always wants to talk about them. It's only lately that Jess has noticed that Bells gets a withdrawn, resigned look whenever Emma talks about a crush. Except a crush on celebrities or superheroes. Maybe Bells doesn't care about Starscream and Copycat because they're older and unattainable, but he's upset because Chameleon is their age? Maybe you guys should just hang out and talk about it, Jess suggests. Emma nods. That's a good idea. See you around, Jess. Jess cleans up in the living room and heads upstairs to charge her phone. She runs into Brendan at the top of the stairs. Mum and Dad are doing superhero stuff with Claude's, Brendan says. A pair of goggles dangles around his neck, and he smells like burnt rubber. Jess isn't sure she wants to know about the scuff marks on his face. Mum said we could order food. Cool, you want pizza? Ooh, can you pick me up a mushroom and cheese from Lenny's? And also, I need a few more parts from the hardware shop. Brendan hands Jess a list. Jess scowls. I'm not running errands for you, and we can just order delivery from Pizza Joe's. Lenny's doesn't deliver, and I'm not supposed to leave you here alone. I'm 13, not 3. Look, I know they left the Smashmobile at home, and I won't tell them you took it out. You know, if you wanted to drive it instead of taking the minivan. Jess narrows her eyes, but the temptation of driving the sports car is too much. Besides, she can park in an alley across the street from Lenny's. No one would notice her getting in and out of the car. And she could get Thai tea from the shop next door. Fine, Jess says, and strides to her parents' office. When she finds the drawer with the Smashmobile keycard, a thrill of exhilaration runs through her. She grabs her backpack. The modified sports car drives like a dream. Her mum's logo is painted on the side, and inside there's a complicated dashboard with a communication relay to League headquarters. Grinning, Jess runs her fingers over the console. Takes the car for a spin around the block, and then, on a whim, zips out of the suburbs. She laughs as the wind catches in her hair as she drives down the highway past the gleaming solar fields. The desert landscape opens out in front of her, but she doesn't want to risk running the car out of charge, or worse, having someone mistake her for her mother and ask for help with hero stuff. Jess zips around the outskirts of Andover, taking 20 minutes to herself. She imagines she's flying. It's thrilling, and then it's too easy to remember she's just driving a car. Nothing special about that, even if she's controlling the vehicle instead of the computer. He turns back into town and drives to the hardware shop to get Brendan his things. At least he knows what he wants, knows what he's doing in his life, and he's only 13. He doesn't have any powers, and it doesn't bother him. Then again, he's also a super genius. Jess is grateful when Monday rolls around. He's impatient to hear back from Monroe Industries, and Bells and Emma were both busy on Sunday. Being around both her parents is exhausting. She always feels like a disappointment, even if they don't say anything about her lack of powers. And they're around a lot more now, ever since the Mischiefs went missing. The resident villains of Andover, Master and Mistress Mischief, have been her parents' arch enemies as long as Jess can remember. They've had countless confrontations over the years, all of them well documented in the Andover Gazette, the local news hollow. The Mischiefs haven't been around for the past few weeks. No ridiculous electronic shenanigans, nothing flying through the air, no chaos whatsoever. It's been strange, and while the rumours are that Smasher and Shockwave caught them and sent them to metahuman corrections at last, Jess knows better. Her parents have no idea where the villains are. Even the usual sort of hero work has declined since Chameleon was introduced, and with the lack of pranks from the Mischief, there's been woefully little for Jess's parents to do. Her father in particular has been using his extra time at home to focus uncomfortably on Jess's future. At least there were only a few awkward conversations over the weekend. Jess can't say she's looked forward to a lot of Mondays, but this is definitely one of them. She hopes, whatever the Mischiefs are up to, that things get back to normal soon. School is routine, as always. In her classes, Jess takes notes idly and drifts off into daydreams. She's fairly forgettable as a student. Freshman year, she was known simply as Claudia's sister. The teachers were all excited at first, exclaiming different versions of, "Claudia was so spectacular, I'm so excited to have you in my class." But Jess fell short of all their glowing expectations. Jess hunches down in her usual seat in the back of the classroom. The other kids greet each other as if they haven't seen each other in ages. Elizabeth Fang sweeps her friend Denise Ho into a hug, and more friends swarm the two girls. The group talks eagerly before the bell rings for third period. Jess snorts. Elizabeth and Denise just saw each other during first period. But it's not as though when lunchtime comes around, Jess won't be doing the same thing with her own friends. Unfortunately, Emma and Bells aren't in most of her classes. Now, they're in AP World History, while Jess is in regular. The bell rings, and the class comes to order. Mr. Liu starts by asking questions from the reading last night. Even though she knows the answers, Jess doesn't bother raising her hand. She's given up trying to stand out. People tend to forget her and remember the Elizabeths and Denises of the world. That combination of confident, smart, and pretty that always draws people in. Jess is certain she's none of those things. She could probably pass for cute if she tried hard enough, and smart, well, she works hard for her grades. She's working on developing confidence, but it's a constant effort. The only time she's come close to being known was when she accidentally came out as bisexual during sophomore English class while talking about her favourite poem. That's old news now. No one really cares, but it was exciting at the time. Jess had a few overwhelming weeks of curious looks and some intrusive questions from over-curious students, until Emma and Bells put an end to it. The bell rings and Jess shuffles off to her next class, only to be accosted by Darryl Flemings, Andover Heights' most out and proud student. He smiles with teeth dazzling white enough to rival an Eversparkle hollow. Darryl's brown hair is slicked back with copious amounts of gel. He waves at her in greeting. His DED display is on, projecting distorted images and messages everywhere, and Jess can read a half-finished AHHS club event proposal flickering in the air. She doesn't say anything, even though it's incredibly impolite to leave your personal display on when you're not using it. Darryl's nice enough, but he's also incredibly intense, especially about the Rainbow Allies Club. It's not a terrible idea for an organization. The 22nd century isn't perfect, after all. Jess attended a few meetings freshman year, but found, like most of the clubs on campus, it's more a social organization than a service one. Doesn't feel too bad about it. A lot of students identify but don't participate in the club. "Hey, Jess," Darryl says, smiling at her. She looks at the floor. "Hey, I'm on my way to class." "So did you hear? We're raising money for..." Jess pushes past him. "I'm not in Rainbow Allies." I know, it's just that, you're always welcome, and I know you're part of the community. Get to the point." Jess makes a quick turn around a corner. Darryl, to his credit, manages to keep up with her. "We just need more volunteers to help us meet our fundraising goal for the quarter." "You're fundraising for new t-shirts," Jess says. "You guys don't really do anything other than hang out together at lunch and occasionally wear the matching t-shirts." "Oh, come on, we totally petitioned the school board about..." "It's a no, Darryl. I'll see you around." Jess steps into an English class. She frowns, hearing Darryl curse to himself before the door shuts.